Okay, first we're gonna go to Ghana, where the Ghanaian government is arresting a lot of people. We're gonna find out why. Then we're gonna go to Mali, where Wagner is leaving. Yes, Wagner's been in Mali, helping Malians fight against terrorism. But they're leaving. What's going to happen? Who's going to help the Malian people? We're gonna find out about that. And then we're going to Zambia, where something really horrible just happened. Very tragic. You better find out about it. What's up, everybody? I hope you're doing good. It's a beautiful day. Thank you very much for stopping. You are appreciated. Hey, this is home. You're welcome. We want you here. We want you to stay. We appreciate you pressing the button to see us. And we know that this is not going to be the last episode. Before we get started, let's all do this. Can I ask you all to do this so we can push forward? Awesome. Amazing stuff. Great stuff. Excuse my deeds. And I'm trying to make it for you. Great stuff. Before I get started, do you know why Africa is stalling? Why Africa is not moving forward right now? Why it's so difficult to get a beautiful African country where everything is functional, where there are good hospitals, where people can go freely and get treated, where you will find schools that are free of use for the African people. Have you ever asked yourself that question? I mean, Africa is supposed to be the richest continent in the world. You're supposed to have all the gold, the diamonds, the uranium, the oil, everything is in Africa. You know, to run a solar system, IV cars, electrical vehicles, you need Africa. To have batteries, to have satellites, to have missiles, you need Africa. Now, how do you explain the fact that since Africa's got all this stuff, but Africa's still struggling? Africa doesn't necessarily have free medical treatment. I mean, good quality free medical treatment for the people of Africa. How come Africa doesn't have good quality schoolings for free for the people? I'm talking about kindergarten, primary school, secondary school, university. Africa should be the place to be. Well, one of the reasons why it's not happening, besides the fact of colonialism, it's also the leaders that are just thieves. Okay, the government people are some of the biggest thieves you can possibly think about. Okay, they will talk to you about democracy and stuff. You know, once we come into power, we're gonna fix the road, we're gonna make sure there are hospitals, we're gonna do everything so your salaries. Yeah, they lie to you. The bottom line is, as soon as they get into power, you can't open your mouth anymore. Those were the same people talking about democracy before they went into government, but then they become the biggest fighter of democracy. They don't want you to speak. People should be allowed to speak out. As soon as they get into power, they take your free speech away from you. Now, in Ghana, fellas, this is Ghana. Look at the map. Beautiful place, lovely people. Been to Ghana many, many times. Some of the nicest Africans I've seen. Matter of fact, in Ghana, you will never feel like a foreigner. Great stuff. So, Ghana Foreign Finance Minister Kenneth Ofori-Atta has been placed on Interpol Red Notice list. Congratulations. Big up coffee. Yes, big up coffee. That to big up coffee. In most cases, unfortunately, there's no accountability for African politicians. So what they do most of the time is they will loot, they will steal, they will take from the government. As soon as they leave office, they will tell the other people, listen, we are leaving, please make sure you don't prosecute us, because if you prosecute us, the same thing is going to happen to you. So in other words, saying, let us steal as much as we possibly can, so when we go, we don't respond to our negativity. You could do the same, you could enrich your family. This is a beautiful opportunity. It's very sad. Now, in Ghana, this is happening.
I triggered processes for the issuance of an Interpol Red Notice for the location and provisional arrest of Mr. Kenneth Nanaya Ofori-Atta in whichever jurisdiction pending extradition or his surrender. Around the same time, I dispatched a request for extradition processes to be instituted for the provisional apprehension in any jurisdiction in which Mr. Ofori-Atta may be located or found, and his extradition to the Republic of Ghana.
On February 12, Ghana's Office of Special Prosecutors, the OSP, declared that Ofori-Atta, a wanted person and fugitive from the justice after he had left the country and failed to indicate a reasonable time of his return. So this former finance minister was told that he needs to come and respond. They said to him, dude, we got a report here of you stealing, okay? We need you to come so you can sit down, we can have a talk. You can explain to us where did the money go and stuff like that. We've done audits. The man said, okay, I'm coming. But then he says he needs to go outside Ghana to get treated, to get health treatment. I don't know if Ghana doesn't have nice hospitals, but he said he needed to go outside Ghana to get treated. Now, leaving Ghana, he is not returned. And now, this office of control say, from now on, since the person has not given a reasonable time of returning to Ghana, we are alerting Interpol. Okay, so Interpol can arrest him and send him back to Ghana. The charges against him include violating procurement procedure relating to ambulance to a national cathedral project, which remained unfinished despite government outlay of $58 million. My brother, $58 million. You have not finished a project of ambulances or a cathedral. How do you explain that? Where are the $58 million? I mean, I'm very happy to see this because this is the very same thing Senegal is doing right now. My brother, the biggest problem of Africa, it's this: corruption, money laundering, stealing. Wisest people that you think you meet, wise before they get into power. As soon as they get into office, you're shocked. All the nice things they used to say, gone. All the nice schools they were going to build, gone. Hospitals, gone. Roads, gone. In the meantime, you see the families getting rich, get businesses and stuff like that. So this man, Ofori Atta, served as a Minister of Finance and Economic Planning under the New Patriotic Party of Nana Akufo-Addo. In November 2022, he survived a parliamentary effort to oust him over economic mismanagement when Ghana's economy declined and its currency was ranked one of the worst in the world. Wow. The cedis, we always knew the cedis would be one very strong currency, but he dropped it to the floor. Now, do you think this is a good move on us? Let me know how you feel about this. Should Africans, politicians be all accountable for the cars they build, for the villas they buy, for the family they send to Europe, and all that stuff? Let me know how you feel about it. And now we're going to Mali. Fellas, in Mali, Russia's Wagner mercenary group is leaving. Okay, they say they're leaving. Is this sad news or what? They say they're leaving. They say that their mission of support to the country has come to an end. It is accomplished because they went to Mali to support Mali against insurgents, jihadists, and they've established what they wanted. The country is stabilized. They have destroyed terrorist infrastructure and trained local forces. So Wagner wants to leave. Let me just remind you here that he came into Mali to help the brand new government of Assimi Goïta to fight against terrorist insurgents. You look at the map. This is Mali on the map. Now, the northern side of Mali coming from Libya, that's where all the terrorists came from. And if you look at Algeria, you can see Algeria right there. Some of the terrorists actually go to Algeria and they come back to Mali. Now, these people want to a slice of Mali. They want to cut it out so they can make it their own country. These people here that are called terrorists in Mali are Arab looking. They're actually Berber looking. Okay, so they don't look quite black. They want their own country in Mali. And with that, they've had big issues with the government. They've been fighting each other. Now, the Wagner group or the Russian forces went into Mali to help them fight these people. There was even a moment where Ukraine went to Mali to train these people, help them attack Wagner. I think we spoke about this. Yes, Ukraine went into Mali, trained the terrorists. They made a tremendous attack against Wagner. They unalived many Wagners.
The fact that the rebels received the necessary information that allowed them to conduct a successful operation against Russian war criminals, the whole world has already seen this. In principle, this can be commented on. We certainly will not disclose any details, but let's say there will be a continuation. This is sensitive information. Therefore, everything that Ukraine does is happening within the limits and within the framework of international law, taking into account all the necessary procedures.
And by the same way, unaliving many hundreds of Malians. I mean, just think about it. Ukraine has an issue with Russia, and the Russians are in Mali. Ukraine links with Ukraine and comes to Mali to unalive Russians and unaliving Malians by the same token. It was bad, and that's when Mali cut relationship with Ukraine. So you can't do that. If you have issues with Russians, fight them in Ukraine. Don't come fight them in killing my people. We don't have any beef with you. I mean, what would have happened if an African country went to Europe because the African country has beef with the European country and alive European people by the same token? It's crazy. And you know, many African countries didn't even condemn that. Very few African countries spoke out, including Senegal. That was one of the countries say, we cannot allow this. And the matter of fact is, I mean, fight Russia in Russia or Ukraine. You don't fight them in Africa and killing Africans by the same token. But most Africans, you don't cowards. They didn't open their mouth. Just the same way when they came to unalive Gaddafi, they didn't open their mouth. They allowed other forces from other continents to come and unalive their brothers dollars while they're just looking because they were scared. In the same token, many African nations didn't condemn that attack that had happened on Russian personnel and unaliving by the same token many Malians. Well, Wagner said they're leaving. They say they've accomplished their mission. Well, then there's another force that's coming from Russia. It's called the Africa Corps. Okay, so Africa Corps is equivalent of AFRICOM of the United States of America. You remember AFRICOM? That's led by General Langley. That is the American presence in Africa. Now, Russia also has a presence. Okay, Wagner is supposed to be a militia. Now, this Africa Corps is supposed to be run and managed by the states. So more stable. No, doing wrong things because these people are registered. Now, is this a good thing? Question mark. It's maybe a good thing to free Mali from terrorism, but does this mean Russians are going to stay in Africa forever? Question mark. Because you have to have a day of coming and a date of exit in any contract. You have to get to start and to get leaving. Well, let's hope they make the right decision. And now we're going to Zambia. Okay. In Zambia, some not very good news, okay? President Edgar Lungu, former president of Zambia, has been unalived on June 1st, 2025, age 68. I don't like this type of news. It's never a good thing, but yeah, that's the reality of life. We come here one day, the next day we leave. And President Lungu, who was planning to become president again, is gone, okay? So he was receiving medical treatment in South Africa. I don't know why you don't get medical treatment in Zambia. I mean, this is an ex-president. Is that because Zambia doesn't have infrastructure? I mean, I thought Zambia has so many Chinese investments, therefore they should be able to get treated appropriately. Or maybe the president went to South Africa because he was scared he was going to be unalived if he was treated. Yes, because these type of things happen a lot in Africa. But somebody's in a very strong opposition, he cannot even go get treated in certain hospital because then the government will send money to the doctors so they can unalive him. His unaliving came amid political tension as he had recently returned to active politics and was positioning himself as an opposition candidate for 2026 presidential election. So this president became president in 2015 after the death of another president named Sata. Okay, after the death of that president, they needed another president urgently, and he won that selection very quickly and became president in 2015. President Sata passed away in 2014. In 2015, he became president. Now, Zambia's term is 5 years. He went from 2015 to 2016. Okay, then from 2016, that's when he ran another election. In 2016, 5 years is 2021. Until 2021, when he wanted to pass another election, they refused him. They say, no, you cannot go two terms because the previous term is considered as a term. But remember, the previous term was only from 2015 to 2016 because he was replacing another president who was just unalive. So they refused him. He said, I want to pass as a president. They said to him, no, you can't do it. But then President Lungu, he had planned re-election in 2026 after losing presidency in 2021. He returned to active politics and he said he was going to challenge the courts and go and run for election. Now the question is, because he was a strong candidate, was he maybe unalived? Maybe poisoned? I'm just saying. These are possibilities you cannot put to the side. I mean, the man was supposed to run for presidency in 2026 because he was going to challenge the court. And he had supporters because people are not always 100% happy. Now, do you think he was unalive? Some notable things about this president is when he came into power, he brought in a lot of Chinese in the country. Yeah, Zambia has a lot of Chinese presence. Some of the biggest companies are run by the Chinese. Some of the biggest investments, biggest hospital, biggest airports, changes and adjustments were made by the Chinese. There are Chinese schools in Zambia, yes. There are restaurants that belong to Chinese in Zambia, where Chinese nationals can go and Zambians cannot go.
If two other guys were in front of us, they went in, these Chinese nationals, they went in. So when my wife and I were going in, there was this lady behind the counter. She was shouting something, she was yelling something. So for me, I just looked at her, but then I couldn't understand. So I walked in again, then she repeated the same phrase. So at this time, I looked at my wife because she was looking in my direction. So I looked at my wife. My wife had stopped moving. So I asked her, what is she saying? So the lady said, foreigners are not allowed in this shop. So I thought to myself, in my mind, I was like, oh, how does she know my wife is, not from Zambia? Then my wife said, oh, she means you are not allowed in the shop. that's when I was confused. Foreigner? I am the foreigner in this situation. So she said, then my wife asked the lady, what do you mean? She said, oh no, the Chinese can come inside. You have to wait outside. You can't come inside.
Yeah, so imagine in an African country, your country, you cannot get in a restaurant because you are local and black. But a Chinese woman can get inside who's your wife, but you can't. Well, there's nothing you can do to the Chinese because they bring the investment. There was even another person, I think a mayor or some brave dude, who was very angry at the Chinese because they were mistreating the workers, letting them work long hours and not returning to their homes to see their families, overworking.
We are here to find out. We are interested in your investment in this country if you are an investor. If you are just a contractor, there are rules that govern contracts in this country, right? And when we come on site, we've got a right and the mandate brings us here to come and check the welfare of the workers. If these workers are well taken care of, you will be more productive. You will be able to finish those houses faster than you are finishing now. Okay? People start pointing a finger at you because of your arrogance. So, these have got an umbrella within which they operate. Just like you are also operating under an umbrella of the law of Zambia. So when we have come to hear the employees, it is our turn. And when we ask you questions to clarify, you have the obligation to answer. Not arrogantly, not cheeky, but in a normal professional manner, if you are a professional. Not you are looking away and you go, hey. Oh. Not here.
I know.
Not here. Don't even retort when I'm talking. You have your own time to speak. Okay? So if when I'm asking these ones, don't answer. When it's your time, answer. You were engaged here. DC was talking to you, I'm talking to them. What makes you want to jump and go ahead? Pay attention to the DC.
That's what it is, fellas. Ghana is arresting a lot of people and they are dismissing. They're going to arrest this politician for doing negative things. Is this a good thing or not? And then we have Russian Wagner that are leaving Mali because, they need to go home. And Zambia, President Lungu, that's not going to be anymore. Let me know how you feel about this. It was a great pleasure. God bless.